get started. So we've just gone over the first parts here, okay? How to backtest and log your trades, okay? So thanks to Hassan, a big thank you for providing that for us, okay?
You're welcome, mate.
Thank you, bro. We learned how to backtest and log. Now we're going to go on to understanding the phase of the market, okay? We spent an hour on that, a bit longer than I expected, but there you go. If we don't go through all of this, then we'll definitely do this very soon. But let's get to some of the fun stuff. It's going to be the phases of the market. Now, I'm going to provide something for you all to follow as a guideline, so this should be easy peasy, okay? We're going to be looking at the direction of the market. There's only 3 directions, okay? Then we're going to determine if it's a push or a continuation, and then direction, and then what we're looking for. No, this is wrong. Sorry. Didn't get my direction. Sell or buy, push or continuation, and then what are we looking for? Okay, let's go. So the first person that would like to do it, let's go to a different pair because this one's got boring. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Nope. Damn. Most of my charts are drawn. Stop sharing. Okay. Let's do this a second. So clear this one. Clear this one. Okay, let's start here. All right. So who is the first person that would like to do the chart for us, please?
I'll just go first, man.
Oh, it's already first. Oh, okay.
Thank you very much. All right, so who is this? Ishmael.
Ishmael, yeah.
All right, Ishmael. So if you can just give us the, oh, let's get this down here. Can you please tell us the direction of this market?
I see. So I can see that the market's been stepping down. So it violated the trend line and now it's stepping up.
Very good. So the market has now violated the trend line. We have a structural high and a potential structural lower high, which determines, are we looking for buys or sells?
I would say sells.
Sells on this market, okay. Can I ask you, based on sells, what phase is this market in? Push or continuation? I'm sorry, push.
Is it continuation?
No. Let me not confuse you.
I'll push or pull back, yeah.
So what phase is this market in at the moment? A push or a pullback?
I see some weeks, so I'm thinking maybe it's pulling back now for a double top or so.
Fine. So this is why I like doing this, okay? Because this is important. We had the push to the upside. We had a structural high, lower high, okay? This is our previous structural low. So Ishmael, this market structure is doing what right now? Pushing or back?
Pushing.
Very good. So based on the fact that this market is pushing, what are we expecting, or what are we going to be waiting for right now?
We're waiting for a pullback.
Very good. And if we get a pullback, we are waiting for what?
Confirmation, right, for small stop loss and a continuation.
Very good. Very simple. Thank you, bro. That was really helpful. Okay. Everybody understand that. If you don't ask questions, then we'll clear it up. Okay. Next person come forward. Ishmael, thank you, bro.
I see.
Next person, please.
Yeah, I'll join. Dawood.
Okay, Dawood, thank you. So let's do this one. So can you give me the direction of this market, please? Up, down, or side?
So this is basically making lower highs, so it's down.
Okay, thank you. So the market structure right now is down based on your analysis, which is structural high, low, high, lower high. Is this correct?
That's correct.
Very good. Are you looking for sells or buys?
So basically, based on the structure, I'm looking, of course, for a sell.
Okay, very good. Even if you're more advanced than some other people here, I just want you to stick to the basics, okay? So yes, sell at this moment in time based on what?
Based on direction, it's pushing to downside.
Thank you. The phase of this market right now, is this a push or a pullback?
It's a push.
Very good.
Yeah, it's a push. Yeah.
So we had this push, we had this pullback, we had this push, we had this pullback, we had this potential push. Now, because you're obviously a bit more experienced, do we know if this market's going to make a lower low?
It might make a pullback to the resistance for a double bottom and then push back, or it could break the support and then make one more resistance and then push it towards down.
Very good. So let me ask you this question now. Based on market structure, forget what you already know. What phase is this market in? Push or pullback?
This is on push.
A push. What bias are you on this market? Sell or buy?
Sell.
And what are you waiting for on this market structure?
Either to break the support or pull back to resistance in order to make double top and then push it down.
Okay, let's make this simpler. So this was our structural low to the left. We've broken close below. We know that this market is structural high, low, high, pushing down, making lower low. We're sell by this market. The phase on this market is push. We now need to wait for an exhaustion for a continuation. Does this make sense?
Yes.
So simple price action before we even know it's going to happen. We're just waiting for a pullback before a continuation, okay? And then once we get this pullback, we look for the sells at the areas where we start to see 4-hour candle closes. The next 4-hour candles showing signs of rejection in and around this area, using our lower time frame analysis to find these key levels here, sell limit entries or potential entries after these candles, looking for a 1-to-3 risk reward ratio, and that is it, okay? But notice, even though we know the outcome of this market, when we went to replay mode and we look back here, we determined that the market was stepping down. We determined that the market is in a push phase. We're looking for sell bias based on that information. Now, all we need to wait for is our exhaustion and signs and evidence for our continuation. The question was, do we know if this is going to make a lower low? No, we don't. Do we care? No, we don't. What are we trying to wait for? Just a safe stop loss above market structure. If it pushes down here and we don't hit TP, we're already at break even. It either continues and hits TP or we get stopped out of break even. Does this make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense, but just a little bit confusion. The arrow which you have marked over here, the red arrow, you are saying to take a sell from here, whereas the support has been drawn on a downer. What if it never made down and it tested the support down and then pushed all the way up?
These are our sell options: lower high, continuation, retest structure, continuation. These are our two options.
Right. So there is no option 3, whereas on the first arrow, it goes up and then it never comes down to the support level. It respects which becomes as a support and then it push towards up.
There is that option. However, when you come into the market for the day, you pick sell or buy and that's it. Because what happens is somebody like you will then start to have all these scenarios in your head. You know that the overall market is down. You know that the market is stepping down. You know that the market is breaking structural lows. You know that the market is in a push phase. Technically, collate all that information. You're only looking for sells. What would then happen with somebody that has all that information in their head, if they're starting to try and, beat the market, is when they see the market push up, come here, and they start to see rejection, They take the buy, the market pulls back. Guess what happens? When they come back to the charts in the evening, they say to themselves, oh shit, guess what? That was the lower high of this structure level here. It was stepping down. It broke this level here, made a low low, pulled back, but it's found support. But technically, the real trading opportunity should have been a sell based on overall market structure, because most retail traders do this with their charts. They draw a trend line, okay? And they draw a trend line on all of their charts because guess what? Most of the time, or majority of the time, price is going to continue pushing down in one direction. Okay? So what I'm saying to you is, even if you find support here, this is not your buy for today. Technically, you was looking for sells. This was your sell today. Even if price finds support here, you would go break even on this trade, okay? But I'm not going to go too much into the logistics of these charts. We do that on a daily analysis. But for now, just keeping it simple, stepping down, broke previous structure lows, made a lower low, was in a push phase, waiting for the exhaustion for a continuation back to the downside, okay? Does this make sense?
Yes, clear.
Thank you. Just based on simple price action. So thank you very much for coming forward.
You're welcome.
Can I go now?
Yes, please. Who would like to do this one? Just bear with me a second.
You. I'll do it, mate.
Thank you, Haas. So let's go. So if you can tell me, please, this is a hard chart. So let's see how we go with this one. What's the direction of this market, please?
I would say consolidation.
Simple. Very good. Simple consolidation. Okay. So we see prices bouncing from this level here, and then we can use this level here. This is completely fine at this moment in time, okay? So the price is consolidating. Are you looking for sells or buys?
Neither, to be honest.
Very good. Is the market in a push phase or a pullback phase?
It's in a push phase.
Push phase, okay. So at the moment,
Down.
look, what are you looking for?
I'd be waiting for either a break below the bottom support, a pullback, and then a selling opportunity, or to the top side as well. So break above resistance, pullback, buying opportunity.
Very good. Now, you know why most retail traders won't wait for this? Because they're not patient enough. Okay?
Yeah.
But if you wait for this, guess what happens? You're likely to succeed in trading, okay? Does everybody understand how Hassan broke this down and analyzed this for us? Very simple.
Yes.
Very good. Anybody else is struggling to understand this? If you are, you can let me know now. All right. Thank you, Haas. Really appreciate it, bro.
Always, mate.
Who would like to do this chart?
Me, man, now. Can I do now?
Yes. Thank you.
Let's go.
Okay. So looking at the direction of this market, can you tell me, please, what's happening?
Okay, I would say this is, if you watch the current price is consolidation, but before it was a push to the upside.
Okay, I really like to hear that. Okay, good. So before this consolidation, the price was pushing to the upside, okay?
Yep.
All of a sudden, the market started to freeze out and start to bounce around, okay? What bias are you on this market, sell or buy?
It's basically the same situation as has and have.
Hmm?
For break of the upside and retest, and downside break and retest. Exactly.
Okay. Continuation. Okay. What phase is in the market in at the moment? If you can tell, is it a push or a pullback?
This will be a right now pullback, making higher low, if you ask me.
Okay, yeah, but you're taking it a bit too advanced. So looking at this market structure,
Oh, okay.
push or pullback or neither?
Neither.
Very good. Okay, and you've already told us what you're looking for. Now, this is how we pull this data together. Okay, we had a huge push to the upside, showing strong bullish pressure in the market. Price then all of a sudden started to stall out around this area, showing signs of rejection to the upside. You know, don't answer this question, okay? But somebody else who's maybe new or not as fluid in terms of the system at the moment, could you sell this resistance?
No.
You
Okay.
asking me or?
No, not you.
Okay.
I like the answer. So no. Anybody else have any other to do this? Everybody's happy with no.
Yeah, because we get burnt a lot in this kind of wicks, you know, in consolidation phase. So
Very good. Okay. So now we see wicks to the downside and to the upside, indicating on this market that price is struggling to go either to the upside or downside. What could this potentially be indicating to us?
That it can make either to upside or to downside, but we don't confirm unless we see it has broken either the resistance or support level.
That's fine. Okay. Anybody else with another answer?
we could buy or sell in this consolidation, like you say, but it's a little bit more advanced, right? Because of
Very good. Okay, fine.
It's just indecision, isn't it?
Very good. It's indecision. So let me give you, and I'm going to go into a bit more detail about this in a second. Notice on this market structure here, you saw a big push to the downside. Everybody can see this, right? When this push to the downside started to exhaust, what phase of the market did you see happening?
accumulation.
Yeah, yes, exactly that. Now we have this push to the upside. What phase is this market in at the moment?
The same stuff.
A potential
Breakout.
accumulation phase to do what? Push to the downside. Okay. Now we don't know it's going to push to the downside because it could push to the upside. I'm going to go into a bit more details in this about this in a minute. Okay. Just bear this in mind, and we'll go into more details about this in a minute. Okay. So we've had how many people come forward? 3 people now. Yeah. Let's do this chart, please. We have 2 more. Who would like to come forward, please?
I'll go.
Thank you. Let's move this. Let's put this here. We have this here. Okay, fine. So, Kath, can you tell me, please? You know what? We're not going to do this one. Yeah. Okay, so let's push this up here. All right. Can you give me the direction of this market, please?
It's down.
Very simple. That's what I like to hear. Are you looking for sells or buys?
Sells.
Very good. What phase is this market in? Push or pullback?
It's in a push.
Very good. And what are you looking for in this market?
I'm waiting for it to make a new lower high so I can take an entry.
Very good. So this is our previous structure high.
Mm-hmm.
Market is structure high, lower high, lower high, lower low. We're definitely looking for sells in this market because the market structure is down. And what we're looking for in this structure is a potential pullback for price to close below this level to form a new structure lower high before a continuation to the downside, making a new lower low.
Yep.
Is that it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Very good. Nice and simple. Thank you very much, Kath. And I really like it. So very good.
Can I ask a question, Rob?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, could this be a good idea as well? That if it will make a lower high, and then before taking a trade in a sell, if I have a trend line and I'm seeing that it is respecting that trend line, and to identify that it has made somehow that lower high, and then I take a sell, or is going to be a typical retail thinking?
It's going to be a typical retail thinking. However, it does work, but retail traders don't know how to draw trend lines. It's much easier to identify what price is doing when price is starting to break structure lows and structure highs, okay? When you start to see price breaking structure levels and closing below these levels, at these moment in time, you can start to identify that the change in direction of this market is shifting to the downside, okay? Which is structural high, lower low. In this instance, you are never going to enter the market in a push phase for a sell. Because if you enter this market now, you potentially will have to deal with drawdown. Now, because we don't know where price is going at this moment in time, it could continue to fly up. What we need to happen is we need to allow price to develop and show signs of and evidence that it's planning to do what we expect it to do, which is push to the upside, show signs of exhaustion, which is a 4-hour candle close with rejection, then to see price come back into that level using a 1 hour and 30-minute time frame to show more signs of rejection, to then be able to get in this trade, anticipating high, lower high, to eventually make a lower low on this structure. And the reason why this works all of the time is because this is how price action moves, okay? Our next job is to make sure that when we enter the trade, we get in the trade with a safe stop loss above what we believe to be the current structure lower high, and all we're doing is targeting a 1 to 3 risk reward ratio on this trade. Now, what makes the big difference is if you decide to enter up here, because you've identified this before everybody else has, that this is a lower high, you get a good reward in a very quick succession. If you decide to enter the sell now, what that means is you have now increased your stop loss and target, which means now you have to suffer the potential opportunity. And this is why we don't take engulfing candles. That price may break, come back, make a higher low, continue up, okay? If it does continue down, it just means you'll be sitting in this trade for a very long period of time. So what we want to do is trend lines do not work all of the time. They do work, but what you have to be doing is making sure that you're allowing price enough breathing room to show clear structure that that's what it's show you clear structure that that's what it's doing, okay? Which means it has to look like this. So if we're pushing to the downside, we are pushing, pulling back, pushing, pulling back, pushing, pulling back, pushing, okay? And what we want to see is clear market structure. If this is evident to you, then you can take the trade, okay, based off a trend line. But what too many retail traders do is they end up taking their trend line and doing something like this, okay? Then what happens is when price comes to it, they take a buy and they fail the trade. So what I want you guys to do is keep it very simple, as well as when we're trading range of markets, okay? If you see price is ranging beautifully within a consolidation or a range of markets, you can take sells or buys. And do you know why you can take sells and buys in this market? Does anybody know?
Yeah, because it's kind of a swing trade, I guess.
Not necessarily a swing trade. This is classed as either accumulation or distribution phase. In the
up, down, because of consolidation.
The banks allow this to happen.
Yeah, because they're collecting orders.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, the banks are allowing this to happen. So if you see a beautifully ranging market, you can take buys or sells if your eyes are trained to see it, because the banks allow it to happen. But what too many retail traders do is they see a sideways moving market that is not as beautiful as this, looks something like this, and then the price starts to do this. Okay, and then they're like, oh, okay, it's come back down to this consolidation now, and it's time to sell, it's time to buy, and blah, blah, blah. And the difference is there's way too much confusion here, way too much confusion here. The reason for this, banks is allowing this to happen for either accumulation or distribution phase to collect orders. And what is happening here is an accumulation or distribution phase. Stop hunting before the banks decide to rally the market down or up. When this phase of the market is ready to end, you'll start to see it develop like this. And then that's when you have to just let go of range of markets, okay? So my answer to your question is, if a trend line is clear, take it. If a range is clear, take it. If not, then stick to simple price action, which is structural high, break below, close, structural lower high, break below, close, potential lower high, sell the market. Does this make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome. So we've had 4 come forward now. Let's do one more, please. One more person. You've seen how easy it is. Let's do this.
Go on, bro, I'll do it.
Thank you, Kyle. So the direction of this market, please.
At the minute, it's pushed to the up at the minute, but
Very good.
overall trending down. But
Okay, so at the moment, the phase of the market is either up, down, or sideways. What is about it?
say down.
You're saying down, okay? So you said down because you don't want to be wrong, I take it, but you see the green candles and we see the market at the moment is pushing up. I know we have this information to the left that can be very confusing, but if we draw this market like this, okay, and we get rid of this, sorry, excuse me, yeah, we get rid of this, we see this was a consolidation phase in the market, and you see these areas here? These are where traders sell and buy the markets. This is actually a fine example. You notice here, the market is not ranging beautifully. Okay? Now look to the upside. Stop hunt, stop hunt, stop hunt. Why is this happening? Well, this is happening because we had a strong rally to the upside in the market. Okay? What banks then do, they decide that they no longer want to hold their buy trades and they want to sell this market back to the downside. So what they do is they cause an accumulation, distribution phase in the market, which is always to the upside, and they cause loads and loads of confusion. They allow buyers to continue buying these lows so that they can collect orders. When price breaks out of these levels here, they entice breakout traders. And then when they're ready, guess what they do? They entice sellers into the market. They break the market out. And if they feel that they're not ready to allow this market to go down, what do? They push the market back up. Based on that information, we broke back into this area on this market. Is this market going up or is the market going down?
It's more sideways, isn't it, really? Do that in a minute.
Yeah. Based on what we just obviously built up, at the moment, big bullish candle continue to push up. Are we up or down?
Yeah, pushing up, pushing up.
We are pushing up. Okay. Whether we're right or wrong in terms of buys or sells, it is pushing up. Okay.
Yeah, it's up at the minute, yeah.
The reason why we're never going to be wrong is because we're never going to do what at this point?
We're not going to take buys off.
Very good. So if we're looking for buys, we are waiting for what in this market structure?
A break and a retest.
Or
The high, or rejection to the downside, and obviously making a lower low, and then a break and a retest of that lower low, that lower high low.
what about this one here?
Yeah, a break and retest of that red line we just drew.
Yeah. So if we have this market, pushing to the upside, and we see that we're potentially in a bull bias market, in order to take buys, we're just going to wait for price to pull back to a structural support, make a higher low of this previous structure, wait for signs of evidence to buy the market back up to make a higher high. Wrong? Do we care? No, because we're never going to take buys unless we get the evidence. If this becomes a resistance level in the market and the market pushes down, we are going to be waiting for a pullback, for a double top continuation, or we wait for the break of the first structural low to happen, as you just said, and then we wait for price to fall back to make a lower high of this structure, a retest of structure, and a continuation of this structure. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
It does?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, fine. Now, the final outcome is potentially this.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what I want to say to you all is the reason why this works every single time is because the market does it all of the time. Some are more obviously obvious than others, just like the consolidations and trend lines, and some are a bit more subtle, and you have to either have a more trained eye or you just let them go and you find market structure that's clearer. The reason why this works all the time because this is how structure moves. When the trend is up, you have higher highs, higher lows. When the trend is down, you have lower lows, lower highs. As long as we can try our hardest to train our eyes to identify that this structure of the market is up, this is a push phase, you're waiting for an exhaustion phase. Even if you bought the market here and you lost, who cares? You have an opportunity to buy the market here. Lose 1R, gain 2R. You do it again, and you continue to repeat this process over and over again. And that's all it's about. And that's why hopefully the spreadsheet will help you majorly, and what we're learning now will help you as well, okay? So we've done 5 of them. Now, I know not everybody has gone through this with us yet up until now. So if you have questions or queries, don't feel stupid, ask them, and let's get them answered, okay? If you have any questions or queries, remember the simple formula to identifying how we're going to take trades is this. Direction, are we looking for sells or buys? Is the market in a push or pullback phase? And then what are we looking for? Are we looking for price to pull back to make a lower high, a higher low? Are we looking for a break or retest of structure? Are we waiting for price to break out for consolidation and retest? That's the formula, okay? Any questions or queries?
I got one. So let's assume if this candle is pushing down and it's not making a lower high, it's respecting the previous support. So somehow this becomes double bottom. Yeah, the engulfing
This
somehow exactly. Yeah. So let's assume if this candle comes down and respect this level and becomes double bottom, maybe in a simple word. Then in this case, the double bottom are basically validated. Is there a time frame it's validated? So for example, if one double bottom is made in this 4 hour of candle and the same double bottom is being created after 5 days, so will that be still considered as a double bottom, or it's not more valid?
Okay, so there's different phases to this. Now, if price started to push down from this level, pull back to lower highs, push down into the support level, what structure is this market? High, low, lower high, lower low. What structure? Sell,
lower high.
This is why visualization and forecasting is good, okay? If this is a structural high, this becomes a structural low. This becomes a structural lower high of this structure, and then this becomes a structural lower low of this structure. What direction is this market?
Oh, okay. Now it makes sense. Okay.
So even
now.
If you want to buy off of this level, it's completely fine, because by the time price pushes back to this level, you would have gone break even. If price continues to go down, then that's completely fine. You take a break even trade. The reason why we don't trade engulfing candles is because if off of this level it shows signs that there's a big bullish candle, okay, and then you decide to enter this market based on this big bullish candle, which is after the close, stop loss below market structure, and you're going for your 1 to 3, not only do you run the risk of potentially not even hitting this trade because you need price to do way too much, you also run the risk of running into this trend line and then price coming down to stop you out. Okay, and this is a negative trade.
Right.
Because you don't.
So this is this is a kind of counter trade, but then I need to expect a very low profit margin.
And yeah, so the word expect is beautiful. This is what you want to be using. This word expect and potential. Okay. If you are expecting price to bounce off of this level, it's not incorrect. As long as you get in the trade in a good place in this market with a good enough stop loss, or even if you use this one, I don't care. Okay. With a 1 to 3 risk reward ratio. Now you have the opportunity, if this market is stepping down and you want to take a counter trend trade because you believe this is a strong support, what you can do is once price starts to push up to 50% of your candle, okay, which is around here. Let's remove this now. Let's remove this and this and bring this back here. If you want to take the buy now, it's perfectly fine, okay? Because you now have a 50% mark here. If price starts to push up, okay, in this fashion, By the time price pushes up, you have this level here that you've marked out, and you say to yourself, if you start to see signs of rejection, then you can anticipate that this stepping down formation may be continuing down. You go break even. Remember,
Right.
the only thing we can control is our risk and our stop loss. We never know when we're going to hit take profit. The reason why we hit take profit is because price does the same thing over and over again. What we have to do as traders is do the same thing over and over again, so that in the long run, our wins counter our losses and we have the edge over the market. But what traders do way too much is they look at support and resistance levels and they say it's a buy or a sell. And when they lose a trade, they look at this and say, oh, goodness me, that was a trend line. I should have just waited patiently and wait for price to pull back for this huge sell to the downside, okay? And this is what you guys don't want to be doing. You guys and ladies don't want to be doing. You don't want to become a stereotype of all these retail traders. You want to have the foresight and knowledge that you're learning to be able to anticipate these moves before they even happen. So when someone says to you, how did you get in that weak entry? Because you're a Don Daddy or you're a Don Mummy, okay? That's how I want it to be. I don't want you guys to be entering after engulfing candles because it's too late. Stop loss is too big. I want you to focus on market structure, okay? Market structure. Forget support and resistance. Forget trend lines. Forget consolidations. Just market structure. If price gives you signs and evidence that it's rejection at a level and you have the opportunity to sell this level based on the simple fact that price is pushed down, false breakout, came back into a level, failing to push and break above structure highs, close around here because of X, Y, and Z, take your sells. Now, your only job to make sure that you get a sell is that you have a safe stop loss above market structure and a good risk to reward ratio. Now, if this market is in a push phase and this is going to become an exhaustion phase, who cares? Because if you did get in this trade early, you have the potential of running this trade for a good 100 pips. But if you're wrong, by the time this exhaustion phase is ended, let's say it ends here, you're already at, let's say, 50% of your overall reward. You have your structural low here. So now you're identifying this market as a push, exhaustion, push, exhaustion. Guess what you're doing with this trade? You're going break even, and who cares if this market goes up? The better you become at identifying what could happen versus what you think will happen, okay, using the knowledge that you have, you're going to be able to extrapolate so much pips from the market. Who cares what the market's going to do? Let's understand the structure, let's understand the phases, and let's manipulate it. If we fail to push all the way down, we manage to go break even and secure our profit, secure our trade, okay? And we move on to a new trade. Does this make sense?
Yes. Yes.